come on. Hey. Good morning. It looked like my internet or my Facebook wasn't working on this burr cold morning in Wisconsin, but it seems to be working now, so I'm going to go ahead and share with you as I sip on my warm coffee and snuggle up in my blanket with my hot rollers, the 11th step, or this is day 11 in getting whatever you want in 14 days or less, or a money consciousness according to Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich. For me, it's losing 7 pounds in the 14-day trial period, or not trial period, but my own personal experimental period with this process as I am sharing it with you. And today's step is all about the subconscious mind. Now, I don't know what your understanding is of the subconscious mind, but to me, I find it fascinating. I actually woke up thinking about my subconscious mind today and how I can get better control of it, because I was laying in bed, and I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but some days I have so many things on my mind, either at night when I'm trying to go to sleep or in the morning when I'm first waking up, that it's like a racetrack going on in there. There's so much going on that I have a hard time getting control of it. And so that, to me, is stuff being fed to me from my subconscious mind that I need to remember and I need to do. And normally when that happens, I will turn on a light and grab the notebook and a pen that are by my bed and start writing things down. Because I find if I write them down, then they don't have to go through my mind repeatedly, because I've already captured those thoughts, so I know I'm not going to forget them. But my brain and my subconscious like to feed me things over and over and over again in an endless loop until I write them down or until I capture them, because it knows me. It knows that if it doesn't keep telling me and reminding me, I am quite likely to forget. But the whole topic of our subconscious, the subconscious mind, is so incredible and so powerful and so fascinating. And really, science has been slow to study the subconscious mind. I mean, it's pretty hard to study the subconscious mind because we don't really understand it. But think of it this way. Our subconscious mind is on all the time, from the instant that we are born till the time that we die. Our subconscious mind, and there is a theory, and I ascribe to it, that our subconscious mind continues even after we do die. Just my personal opinion, don't freak out. But that it's our connection to source, or the infinite intelligence, or it's part of our soul. I personally believe that we are infinite beings here on this planet. You may or may not believe that, but I personally know from personal experience, personally, boy, I'm sure personally today, but I know that there's more to our lives and more to our being than just who we are right now and how we're living on this planet. Again, huge topic for another day. Goes way beyond, actually it begins in the scope of Think and Grow Rich. To me, it's fascinating how much wisdom there is in this particular book, and how it is like the grandfather of modern day self-development, self-help, personal development, consciousness, so many business practices, so many success practices. It's just kind of mind-boggling. And that's part of why I want to share these 14 steps, because as much information as there is out in the universe right now and in our worlds right now with the internet and everything, so many people are still struggling. So many people are still frustrated and not knowing what to do when, you know, the steps have been laid out for anybody who wants to find them clearly and completely since at least 1937. So chances are, if you haven't come across this information before, it's because you weren't ready for it yet. But if you're watching me now, you're obviously ready for it, so let's get to it. So the subconscious mind. I've got a different little magnifying glass today because I could not find my big one, so I'm using a little one. But I want to share some of the things that Napoleon Hill has to say about the subconscious mind. He says it is the connecting link between our conscious mind and what we want and infinite intelligence. It's how we get what we want to manifest and be created in our lives. The subconscious mind consists of a field of consciousness. in which every impulse of thought that reaches the objective mind through any of the five senses is classified, recorded, and from which thoughts may be recalled or withdrawn. So basically, our subconscious mind is like a multi-sensory recording device, and it captures absolutely everything we experience throughout our lifetime. Every thought, every feeling, every smell, everything we see, everything we hear, everything we feel, every touch. It records it all in real time and stores it in our subconscious bank account, and it all becomes a part of our being and who we are. Think about that for a minute. What an incredibly powerful thing that is. And how do you explain that? How does science or anything explain that that's even possible? I mean, if you were a supercomputer, can you imagine if a computer, and what kind of a computer and how sophisticated it would have to be to capture that kind of information 24/7, and then actually stimulate ourselves and stimulate our bodies to do what they need to do just simple bodily functions like breathing, digesting our food, cells growing and dividing. That is all controlled, managed, and directed by our subconscious mind. Pretty mind-boggling. So how do we tap into this subconscious mind and make it work for us? Well, that's what this step is all about. It's about helping us understand the power of the subconscious mind and then how we can put it to work for us. Because the fact is, if we're not putting it to work for us, guess what? If we're not telling our subconscious mind and directing our subconscious mind, it's running all the time. It's always absorbing and picking up information. It's not going to stop picking up information because we're not paying attention to it. So it's one of those things that works whether you believe it or not. And it's happening in your life whether you believe it or not. Your subconscious mind is working and absorbing and creating who you are and the life experiences you're having. And if you're not directing how you want them to be, they will be directed for you by default. Your subconscious mind will absorb information from the things that you're experiencing not accidentally, it's doing it on purpose, but you might accidentally be creating things that you don't want because you're just letting things happen to you. Excuse me, my throat's cloggy today. The subconscious mind will not remain idle. If you fail to plant desires in your subconscious mind, it will feed upon the thoughts which reach it as a result of your neglect. Exactly what I was just saying. Everything which man creates begins in the form of a thought impulse. Man can create nothing which does not first conceive in thought. So everything, absolutely everything, begins as a thought or an idea. Remember I was saying the other day that I was at the mall to see Santa Claus with the kids, and I just had this overwhelming sense of awe because of all the things that exist in a shopping mall. And it doesn't have to be the Mall of America. It could be any mall, any store. Look around your house. Look around where you're sitting right now and just be amazed at the thought that everything that exists started out as a thought. Absolutely everything. From my coffee cup to my magnifying glass to the book Think and Grow Rich, it all began as a thought impulse and a little blip of energy or an idea. It's pretty profound. One of the major points in dealing with our subconscious is to know that the most powerful way to implant thoughts in our mind and to solidify them in our subconscious is by adding emotion. There's 7 major positive emotions and 7 major negative emotions, according to Napoleon Hill. Now, a lot of people have written things since Think and Grow Rich that are like, the top 35 emotions or the top 20 positive emotions, whatever, it doesn't matter. We're just going to go with his 7 and know that, of course, there are many variations to each of these emotions, but if you master the 7 positive emotions and fill your life and your subconscious with them and try to avoid the negative 7 emotions, any other ones that come up, you'll know how to handle and how to deal with them. So the reason behind this is our brains, our minds, and our subconscious only focus on or act upon one thing at a time. So if I am thinking positive thoughts, feeling positive feelings, predominantly, that's what I'm feeding my subconscious, and that's what it will act upon and interact with the infinite intelligence about. If I am, surrounded by negativity, thinking negative thoughts and focusing on them, or I'm just surrounded by them all the time, that is the problem. And I'm feeling those negative feelings along with what I'm thinking. That is the predominant information that is going to be fed to my subconscious mind, and my subconscious will act upon those feelings. So I need to steel myself and do as much as I can to possibly create as much positive emotion and positive feelings and thoughts in my life as I possibly can. So again, your subconscious mind will only focus on one thing at a time. And so we want to encourage the 7 positive emotions. So Sharon, what are those 7 positive emotions? Are you going to tell us already? Well, I'm sure you know what they are, but let's go ahead and review them again. The emotion of desire, the emotion of faith, the emotion of love, the emotion of sex, the emotion of enthusiasm, the emotion of romance, and the emotion of hope. Don't get me started on hope. I guess hope is a lot like faith in his definition. And again, these are not all the positive emotions, of course. There's a plethora of them, but these are the most common 7 and the most powerful 7. So you want to do whatever you can to experience and feel these emotions in your life as much and as often as possible. Now remember, you don't have to actually have a physical experience to experience these emotions. You can visualize and imagine, and our imagination is so powerful. Something that's vividly imagined with our senses is as true to our subconscious mind as something that actually happens. I don't actually have to be being physically hugged by someone to reimagine what it feels like to be hugged by someone. And if I imagine being hugged, say by my son-in-law is a great hugger. If I imagine my son-in-law hugging me and I imagine that vividly with as many senses as I can, that is as real as getting a physical hug to my subconscious mind. It can't tell the difference. So I would highly recommend that every day you set aside or randomly pick and spend some time visualizing positive experiences with emotion and feeding that to your subconscious mind. So what are these negative emotions that we want to avoid? I'm sure you know these too, but let's go ahead and see what Napoleon thinks are the most powerful negative emotions. Again, it's a heck of a lot more than 7 negative emotions, but these are the 7 most powerful. The emotion of fear, the emotion of jealousy, the emotion of hatred, the emotion of revenge. Yeah, these are biggies. The emotion of greed, the emotion of superstition, and the emotion of anger. Positive and negative emotions cannot occupy the mind at the same time. One or the other must dominate. So, if I'm thinking that I'm jealous of my coworker because they just got the promotion that I wanted and I thought I deserved, is that a positive or a negative emotion? And if I am feeling jealous, am I able to feed my subconscious anything positive at that particular time? Nope, not possible. As long as I am upset and angry and feeling jealous, I am not sending my subconscious mind anything positive. So guess what my subconscious mind is acting upon? It's acting upon those feelings of jealousy. So I want to kick those to the curb as quickly as possible and switch, flip switch. I like flip switching. What's the opposite of jealousy? Well, love, gratitude, appreciation, enthusiasm for that person's be excited for that person that got that promotion. And know that that wasn't the right position for you. That wasn't the right situation for you. Because if it was the right situation for you, you would have gotten it. But it's obviously, for some reason, you might not understand right now, but will become clear to you later, that wasn't the right move for you. And guess what? Maybe a better position is going to open up in a month or two, and that is the perfect position for you. And it's a better position than even the one that you're feeling jealous about right now. So we want to master our emotions and make sure that we control them so that they don't control us. The subconscious mind is more susceptible to the influence by impulses of thought mixed with the feelings or emotions than those originating solely in reasoning portion of our mind. Napoleon Hill gives the example of prayer or reading prayer books or reading, this is true of affirmations too, and people forget about this. They'll say, well, I do affirmations every day and they don't work for me. And, you know, sometimes I'll think I have affirmations on my bathroom mirror and I read them every morning when I'm brushing my teeth and getting ready for work, like curling my hair. And every once in a while, the inkling or the thought will enter my mind that, oh, these don't work. Why do I do them every day? Well, the reason they haven't, if they haven't appeared in my life, actually mine pretty much have all appeared in my life, but I keep them up there because they're ways I continuously want to be and grow and become as a person. But if I get an inkling or some lack or scarcity mentality sneaks into me and I question them, it's because I am just motely reciting them without adding any emotion. I'm not thinking about my intent behind why I created those affirmations in the first place. I'm not remembering the outcome that I really want to see in my life when I'm repeating them. I'm just repeating them. It's like memorizing in school versus actually acquiring knowledge and learning something. Think back to your school and your education. When I think back to mine, I mean, I went to college for a long time. And if I think about what I learned in college versus what I studied in college, it's two entirely different things. When I think about what I've retained from my formal education, it's really dismal. And the reason is our education system is set up to reward us for short-term memory and memorization and regurgitation of facts and figures and being able to answer questions that a professor comes up with for a test and scoring. And none of that has anything to do with our ability to assimilate and use the information and the knowledge and the skills that we acquire in higher education later on in our life. So I am personally of the mind that education, and we would all be much better served if we taught people how to learn, if we taught people where to get the information they need and how to use that information once they get it or get access to it. That's what we really need to know. That's what we need to be teaching our children. We need to be teaching them how to problem solve, how to overcome obstacles, how to think, how to use their mind and their subconscious and their energy to create what they want in their lives. Sorry, little aside. Remember that you're studying a book which is intended to help you develop a money consciousness by filling your mind with positive emotions. One does not become money conscious by filling one's mind with negative emotions. Now, of course, this is true of anything that you want. Now, I want to lose weight. I'm not working on money consciousness right now, although I might be next. But for this trial and for this 14-day step through, I am using losing 7 pounds. So, okay, guess what? It's as true for losing weight. It's as true for gaining health. It's as true for creating a great relationship. It's as true for landing a job. It's as true for anything as it is for money consciousness. If I am doubting and fearful and angry and jealous and any other plethora of negative emotions, if I'm thinking those and feeling those when I'm thinking about my goal or working toward my goal or making my lunch or taking my supplements or drinking my water, if I'm thinking negative things, guess what? That's what my subconscious is receiving and acting upon. And that will stop me dead in my tracks for moving toward my goal, toward success. If I'm thinking positive things about, wow, I love these supplements. They make me feel so much better. They might be big and hard to swallow, but wow, they make me feel so good. I don't care. It's like drinking. I try to drink, and I usually most days drink a healthy green and protein shake mix that I've concocted. And let's be honest, most of these things do not taste awesome. However, the way I feel after I consume this is so terrific that I will hurry up, drink it, and make myself drink it every morning because I know how great it makes me feel. So sometimes we make little short-term things and we do them and we take that action because we know that the outcome is giving us what we want. And if I think about it, you know, I don't really mind the taste of it so much anymore. I've gotten used to it because I love the feeling of what it does for my body and how much energy it gives me and how it makes me feel and how it makes me be able to move my joints so much more than I don't like the taste of it. That's how we make ourselves act. Positive and negative emotions cannot occupy the mind at the same time. One or the other must dominate. It is your responsibility to make sure that positive emotions constitute the dominating influence in your mind. Guess what? Nobody can do this for you. That's why I'm so adamant about sharing this process and helping you and myself to reinforce for myself to understand that only I can determine my success. Only you can determine your success. Only you can control your mind. Now there's, okay, I've seen these movies about mind control, Sharon, what are you talking about? Okay, outside of that, people can manipulate your mind, but only you can control your mind. So you have to decide, I am going to feed my mind positive things and positive thoughts and positive feelings and positive emotions as much as I possibly can, because I know that that's what I want to be feeding my subconscious in order to achieve whatever it is I'm choosing to work toward. In order to lose that 7 pounds in 14 days, I have got to be feeding my mind positive thoughts, feelings, beliefs, affirmations, visualizations. I have to see myself 7 pounds lighter. I have to see myself feeling better and lighter and happy and having more energy in order for that to be created in my life. And I need my subconscious's help to make that a reality in my life, or to create success, because that to me is success. Form the habit of applying and using the positive emotions. Eventually, they will dominate your mind so completely that the negative cannot enter it. That's the trick. The trick, it's not even a trick. That's the strategy that we all need to develop. If we are predominantly thinking, feeling, and having positive experiences, that's what we're feeding our subconscious, and that's what we're creating in our lives. Who doesn't want more of that? I know I always do. And think about times in your life, because our lives don't go in a straight line or in a straight line up like we want them to success. Our lives are pretty much like this, up and down, up and down, up and down. And we hope that they're up and down, trending towards success and what we want. And you know, sometimes we're in one of those valleys, or we're in one of those we're at one of those peaks. And if you're at one of those peaks, it's really easy to continue. And I think that's where the momentum comes from, is once you actually control and manage this for yourself and for your life, it becomes a habit. It's like any other habit. Good habits are hard to form and easy to break. Bad habits, on the other hand, are easy to form and hard to break. I think we've all had personal experience with that. I have the habit of waking up, and as soon as my alarm clock goes off, the days I need an alarm clock, I need to get out of bed, stand up and get out of bed. That is a habit. The habit of the momentum of the first time your alarm clock goes off, getting out of bed and moving, that is a habit that I had to create over the years, because I know that if I do that, if I get up and move the minute my alarm clock goes off, I'll get up and I'll start my day. If I don't, past bad habits have shown me that if I hit snooze or if I reset my alarm, it'll be a couple hours, and I will lose a couple hours of my day, and I won't get things done that I want to get done. And that feels worse to me than the momentum that it requires to get out of bed. I read recently, and I can't remember where I read it, but somebody said that the hardest thing most of us ever have to do on a given day is actually break that cycle of sleep and step out of bed. And ever since then, it's like, oh yeah, as soon as that alarm clock goes off, I'm up, I'm out of here, I'm moving. And those are the days that I get so much more done that I want to accomplish, than if I wake up groggy and bleh. So, greet your day with enthusiasm. Get to work on your subconscious mind. Start paying attention to what you're feeding your subconscious. What are you thinking? If you catch yourself thinking negative thoughts, boom, switch it to something positive. If you're in a funk, and we all get in a funk, and you're not sure why you're feeling a certain way, just look around for something interesting, beautiful, fascinating, and start asking yourself questions about that, or appreciate how magnificent, I don't even know what I can grab quickly, how magnificent this box of Kleenex is. It can be anything. How fascinating a book is, or how fascinating anything that happens to be in a light. Think about how fascinating it is that we actually have electric lights. Think about anything like that. Anything to switch your mind from the negative things that you're thinking or feeling to something at least neutral. And then once you get to neutral, you'll start to think of more positive things. Think of somebody you love. Think of some past experience that you had that made you feel terrific and awesome and wonderful and so good about yourself and so powerful and so alive, and just relive that moment. Close your eyes for 20 seconds and just flash back to some of your most powerful, most wonderful, most fun experience and highlights of your life. You know, when something bad happens, the event might be 5 seconds. But we will spend hours and hours, if not days, months, weeks, and years, reliving that 20 seconds in our life and regretting it or feeling bad or thinking we should have done this or should have done that. But when awesome things happen in our life, we experience them for like an hour, and then we very seldom go back and revisit that awesome experience. Think about, if you have children, the birth of your child. Think about, you know, the first time you experienced something and you were so exhilarated and so excited and so engaged in that. Go back and revisit those moments as often or more often or all the time than you do the negative things that happened in your life. Honestly, our past is something we should learn from, but then not really go back and revisit unless we're going back to revisit positive, empowering experiences that we've had. I don't know why, but as human beings, we tend to go back and we relive the negative, but we don't remember that we can do the same thing with the positive. And it's actually as hard to create failure in our lives as it is to create success. But why are we doing that? Why are we choosing to let the world around us determine who we are and what we're going to be and what we're going to create, have, and do and be in this planet, in this lifetime? Why are we letting that happen by default? Me, not anymore, not letting it happen by default. And I encourage you to do the same. That's it for today. Go out, think about, and use your subconscious mind. And I will see you tomorrow with the 12th step, the 12th day in our 14 Days to Anything You Want little exercise and challenge. Have an awesome day. See you tomorrow. Bye.